Hello, thank you for coming. Today we are doing, much like the Nirvana tier list, we are doing a Green Day tier list today. I'm not going to try to hide it. I put it in the title so that you would watch the video. Crazy. So yes, today let's get right to it. We're going to be covering Dookie. Yes, Dookie. This is, I would say, sonically, probably my favorite Green Day album. Nostalgically speaking, it's going to have to be Insomniac, just because, again, I was the bargain bin kid who owned Bleach and Insomniac instead of Dookie and Nevermind, but it's cool. So anyway, of course, as time went on and I started earning my own money as a teenager, I started using that money to stream Spotify Premium. I never really considered using a streaming service until I could pay for premium, just because I really didn't want to deal with ads. It's just a personal preference. But as soon as I could, I listened to Dookie because that co-aligned with the time in my life that I was really, really into Green Day. If I had any pictures to show you, I would, and it would surely be embarrassing. Thankfully, I think none exist. So that being said, we're going to go through the tier list. We're going to start at the top, go down to the bottom, and we're going to do S to F just like last time. You know what it is. Let's go. Alright, so track number 1 is Burn Out. It's a Green Day song. It's pretty good, you know. They didn't start with their best the same way that Nirvana did the last time, which is an equally okay tactic. I don't think that to be a fantastic album, which of course Dookie is most considered a fantastic album, I think it's fine. You don't have to start out with your most recognizable song. That being said, it is just kind of your Green Day song. You know, if it was playing and you didn't know the song and somebody was like, "Is this Green Day?" you would probably be like, "Yeah." You know, it's very. I don't have a whole lot else to say about it. You know, I enjoy the song, of course. I enjoy pretty much every song on this record. Let's get that out of the way now. But it's not the most creative on the album for sure. But it is a strong start. It is a strong look at the band and what they essentially have to offer, with spurts of genius in between. So, that being said, we'll give Burnout a solid B tier. You know, of course, not terrible by any standard, but not my favorite, so I think B seems fair. Having a Blast, I think, is a little bit cooler than Burnout. Very similar formula. Subject matter a little bit more crazy, a little bit more edgy, you know. It's about a guy strapping a bomb to his back and going into a bank, which of course has aged just terribly. But it was what it was, you know. They were a real, or at least really wanted to be a by the real roots punk band at the time, and I do think that they sort of have the credibility to back that up, so you know, it's not outlandish to think that a punk band in the 90s would make such a song. So for that reason, and just because musically it's on par with the last one, but I think it is a little braver. It does introduce ideas that maybe they're not afraid to touch on taboo subjects, which I think ultimately pays off in setting the tone for the rest of the album. So for that reason, I'm going to put it at a B tier also. I don't think it quite exceeds what the last one did, but it certainly builds on it, and I think we're building two better things. So we're starting off with two Bs. You know, even if you put a whole album of Bs out, Bs on a report card don't get you grounded. Usually. If they did, I am deeply sorry.
B's for bitches.
B's for bitches. Chump, I'm going to go ahead and just come right out with this one. Chump, easy C tier for me. Again, following very much the same formula. It has, of course, the song I'm about to talk about comes after this album. It does, in fact, come on their sophomore album, Insomniac, but it has very similar vibes to Brat, just kind of an I'm a loser type song, which again, the aesthetic of Green Day, at the time, very fitting to just write a song about how I'm a loser and I'm an outcast and I don't fit in and I'm a chump and yeah, it's okay. It's very okay. It's not a bad song again, but coming after two other songs that sound very similar. If you weren't a really huge fan of Green Day, even if you weren't a huge fan of early Green Day, you may mistake all of these songs for the other. Like if I played any one of them and you had heard a different one and I was like, hey, have you ever heard this? There's like a 50-50 chance you would be like, yeah, I've heard this for sure, definitely. So, just following up with a lot more of the same. So, unfortunately, Chump, you are relegated to a C tier. Okay, okay, okay. Now we're getting into the meat. We're getting into the things that we want to see. I'm going to go ahead and come out and let you know that we are heating up. Let's do it. Track number 4, banger, Longview. Let's go ahead and get that out there right now. It slaps 100%. It is absolutely just one of the best on the whole record. It's an easy S tier, but that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it because we are. Longview is, of course, very infamous in the Green Day discography, anthology, whatever. It's a very infamous track simply because it has the reference to masturbation in it, which has been sort of a meme in the Green Day community for an incredibly long time. That being said, that line doesn't really diminish the song. It could have come off very cheeky and very out of place, and it didn't. It fits the flow of the song. I also think this is where they really start to experiment with different ways of putting a song together. It's bass led, and of course, if you like rock and roll, then you probably like the bass. If you like hip hop, you probably like the bass. It is an absolutely fantastic and versatile instrument. So, yeah, Longview gonna be making a big jump. We're gonna jump right over A and plant this at an S. Welcome to Paradise. Okay, here's what I'm going to say about this song. It does follow your typical Green Day verse, chorus, verse, kind of little breakdown, solo-y ordeal. But that being said, it is much more enjoyable. It is very much more aggressive than anything we've heard on the album so far. And it is a very personal song. I think that really comes out in just every aspect of it. The lyrics, of course, and the way that the lyrics are sung, again, perhaps a little bit more interesting than we have heard previously on this record. That being said, it does not quite, to me, reach the heights of Longview, just in its, ability to amaze, but it definitely takes something that you are, if you're listening to the album as a whole, which I know not a lot of people do anymore, but if you decide to do so, if you listen to this album as a whole, and you get to Welcome to Paradise, you are now becoming familiar with this territory, and yet this seems harder. It's faster, it's more aggressive, it's more punk, it's more what you want. It's the pop punk shit with really punky vibes, so you can really get into it. Really get into it. Welcome to Paradise, A tier. Next. Pulling Teeth is an odd one for me. It has actually become one of my favorite on the album in recent times. I just really love the chorus. I think the chorus on that song absolutely slaps. Is she ultraviolet? Is she this there? It's really, really amazing that they went that way with that song, and I think it paid off, and it's become one of my favorites. That being said, it doesn't have it kind of runs into the same problem, I guess, as Lounge Act. You know, it is one of my personal favorites. However, does it have the power to stand out amongst the rest of what is on the album? Questionably, I would probably have to go with no. And I do say questionably because I question it, but I feel like your average fan may correctly, might I add, probably say no. But because it is one of my favorites, I still have to put it at an A tier. I don't think it deserves the S that I want to give it, but it is a good song. If not anything super new, but it does have a really poppy chorus that just slaps, and yeah. A. Basket Case is again one of those easy S tier ones, but we will talk about it. Calm down. Yes, Basket Case. The video is amazing. Let's go ahead and just give that its own little honorable mention. The video is absolutely fantastic. Just the weird colorization, the idea of it. Of course, you know, looking back, the implications of the mental health hospital do not age super well, but it is a bright and colorful video that I don't think pokes any too much fun at any specific group of people, so I think it can still be enjoyed. But, you know, anyway. That being said, the song itself is also an absolute slapper. It is, again, not afraid to get into some questionable and often sexual territory, but it, again, not to the degradation of the song. And that is a theme that I think plays out throughout this album very well. Possibly the best in their discography as far as being able to play off these really tongue-in-cheek ideas with no or little to no detriment to the song itself. Of course, we were talking about I went to a whore, she said I was a bore, omnivore, blor blor blor. As the lyric goes, you can look that up on Google. So yeah, Basket Case, easy S tier. The song is fantastic. Paired with an equally fantastic visual representation. Yeah, next. She is going to be rough to rank. It brings me no joy to say that while at a time when I thought that I was perhaps the most punk person that I might ever know in my entire life, I thought that she was the shit. But it has not aged on me super well. You know, like it's not like a bad song or anything. It's a song, and it is by Green Day. It is categorically a Green Day song, and I think that that is very evident. I feel like, you know, it does sort of get its own points for being a personal song. But to what end? You know, Billy Joe Armstrong is notoriously a very personal writer. And you know, at a certain point, you have to stop giving points for putting personal things into songs. It doesn't always make the song better. Yeah, she is an okay song. C tier. Next. Sassafras Roots. I'm going to go ahead and say that Sassafras Roots is underrated. I don't have any scientific evidence to back that up. Don't at me. Or you know what? Feel free to at me on that one, actually. Let me know if I'm out of pocket on that. But that being said, yeah, I think Sassafras Roots is definitely an underrated track. And I think it is really, really good. It's one of my favorite on the albums. And I know what some of you are going to say. Grungy Lemon. Grungy Lemon. What are you doing? You gave Lithium a D for repetitiveness, and Sassafras Roots is repetitive. I don't understand. Grungy Lemon. Grungy Lemon. You gave it a D. How could you not give this one a D? How could... Look. Yes, I gave Lithium a D for being repetitive, but it was a different kind of repetitive. Sassafras Roots, I think, the wasting your time line, though repeated many times, it plays into the song better than I think some of the elements of Lithium did. Again, I love the song Lithium, but to me, compared to other songs on that album, the repeated chorus of Yeah doesn't quite hold up to a lot of the other things. And of course, while not the first time or the last time this had been done by Nirvana, the repeating first and third track, again, just not my favorite. Um, that being said, Sassafras Roots is it's more of a theme thing. You know, it's a thematic interlude of repetition. And in case I made this unclear ever in the past, I would like to go ahead and say that I definitely don't think repetition automatically makes a song bad. I just think it has to fit the song in that intangible way that you only know when you hear it. And for this song, I think that is how it goes. So, but again, it's one of those songs that doesn't quite have the staying power, so despite that whole spiel that I just gave defending the song, I, again, cannot give it the S tier that I feel like I would love to give it. As a middling fan of Green Day, I'm going to give it an A tier. A tier to Sassafras Roots. When I Come Around, another single, and you don't want to give all the singles the S tiers, but sometimes it just happens that way. It's not my fault. And When I Come Around is just another really awesome song with another really fantastic video that has maybe not aged the best. So When I Come Around, I think, is probably the song that really hardened me into a Green Day fan. We're going to take a little interlude here, and I will explain that as many 20-something-year-olds on the internet, my first exposure to Green Day was American Idiot. And of course I liked American Idiot. It's a pretty good record, you know, no hate. But that was the Green Day that I grew up with. And as I sort of started to develop my own opinion on the band and listen to their older things, now I would say certainly I'm at the point in my life where I really don't care for American Idiot on. There are definitely camps in the Green Day fandom. There are those who, you know, really like pre-American Idiot, those who really like post-American Idiot, and almost none of them like Uno, Dos, or Tre. This was the song that I think really brought me to the camp of the older Green Day and really made me a fan of that, which again, if you like newer Green Day, no hate, but this song is just, I think, maybe one of the best songs of the 90s. That is my personal opinion. It's just so good. You know, the guitar part is really catchy and crunchy in just the right way. The bass part is really, it's a groove, you know, and you feel that. And then Tre, of course, killing it on the drums. Chorus, fantastic. S tier, easily. Coming Clean. Again, a very personal song by Billy Joe. He has expressed in interviews before that this song was about his, you know, his budding sexuality and questions that came with that about his sexuality, which, of course, again, we've just went over how putting personal things in the songs isn't going to win you points, but this is delving into some territory that I think was deep and perhaps even brave in the 90s for, you know, to really just put that out there and be like, yeah, you know, it was just one of those things that I went through and I'm putting it out here for you to see. You know, a nice sentiment to put out there. So for that reason, you know, just his willingness to do it and his commitment to it and making it as genuine, I think, as he possibly could have, while also being, again, just one of those, it's a Green Day song, but it's good because they, you know, they did what they did and it, you know, sounds good. We'll give it a B. We'll give it a solid B. Eminius Sleepus, I think I'm pronouncing that right. This is a sleeper track, dude. Yeah, I said it. This is a total sleeper track. I think, again, while following the notorious formula that we've been talking about over much of this video, I'm going to stop using the word formula at this point. I'm going to say that at the time, Green Day had found their sound. Of course, that sound evolved to varying degrees on different records and stagnated at certain points. You know, they had found their sound. This was their first major label, so I'll stop using the word formula. So they're deep in their sound, and they come out with this, and you know, it just kind of was a nice little hype up as we're getting near the end of the album. I feel like a lot of albums suffer from sort of a slump toward the end, which of course there are 2 more tracks, so there's still time. But this was a nice little wake up call, a nice little good Green Day song right there at the end. So Aminius Sleepus, I'm going to give it an A, and I'm giving it an A. It's a B song, but it has S tier placement. They really put that song right where they needed it to get you, you know, sort of rallied and keep you interested all the way up until the end. So, in the end, I really think that this song deserves an S. This is a mesh of speed punk and pop punk at its absolute finest. You know, and if you read the lyrics, or if you do like I did and you memorize them because you were playing Green Day Rock Band, whatever, however you find out, the lyrics are, you know, they're okay, they're pretty good. They're sort of, they're lyrical, I guess you would say. They do have sort of an aloof quality to them, a sort of quasi-narrative quality to them. And of course, there's the infamous "you" that is referred to in so many songs. The "you." So you know, I don't know if it's lyrically their bravest track, but the fact that he was able to get this out at the speed that he did, I think was impressive. I am not a speed rapper. Please do not send me links to Eminem videos or Tech Nine videos, Bare Naked Ladies videos. I don't want to see them. I get it, but I think it is impressive, and I like it. But again, I don't know if it deserves the S I want to give it. I don't even know if it deserves the A that I want to give it, because this is one of the least talked about tracks that I've come across. You know, just talking casually to other Green Day fans, as you do. If you like music, you talk to other people about music that you like, and not a lot of people showing love to In the End as much, you know, as much as I like it. So unfortunately, I have to give it a B. Next. Alright, FOD, and then All By Myself. The combined last 2 tracks. Not my favorites. Again, I think it's one of those albums that kind of fizzles out right there at the end with a less than stellar track. If I had it my way, I might have put FOD and All By Myself with less of a pause, obviously, in there, or maybe something more interesting inside the pause, maybe in the middle of the album. You know, that could have been like an interesting concept at the time. I don't know if I'm mistaken, but my first exposure to like an interlude in an album was with Panic at the Disco's A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. I don't know if there was another mainstream album before that that had an interlude in it. If there was, please feel free to let me know. But I feel like that could have been an interesting concept if they would have put that one in the middle and then ended on the end, because that is a banging song. But they fizzled out, and although I do like All By Myself, it's funny, you know, and Green Day, especially early on, before the politics, of course, which no hate to bands being political, and being a political band certainly does not make you a bad band, i.e. Rage Against the Machine, and I'm sure many others that you know of. Really fantastic music out of that genre. But certainly in the beginning they didn't really take themselves too seriously, and they put out a fun pop punk album, but still, FOD and All By Myself, not my faves, so I feel like it would be harsh to give them an F. You know, it's not quite on Endless Nameless level for me. Like, I can still enjoy listening to them probably more so than I can Endless Nameless, so I'll have to give them a D. D tier. So, yeah, that's my video on Dookie by Green Day. If you agree with my opinion or disagree with my opinion, or just want to leave me a comment, leave me a comment. And I'll catch you next time. Thanks.